Hi, everyone. It has been a really long time, and here I am talking about books. And it is March 2025. So let's rewind and talk about what I read in January of this year. If I am new to you or you are new to me, hello, my name is Jessica. I am a public librarian, an astrologer, and a yoga teacher. I ran this channel for many, many years under the name Foolish Oats, and I have since changed things up. I have lots that I can update you on if you are a existing or former subscriber of this channel, and I'm more than happy to do so. But for now, I think I will just start off with the book stuff. And if you have any questions about what's been going on in my life for the past 10 years, feel free to ask them. Okay, diving right in. I read 8 books in January of 2025, and they were all bangers, let me just say. I still have my Goodreads account, but I am simultaneously updating that as well as my Storygraph account. So please feel free to follow me, friend me, whatever you'd like on either or both of those, and I will happily follow you back. So I started 2025 calendar year off with a bang. I started with Emily St. John Mandel's Sea of Tranquility. It was a really great way to start the year. It was not a long book at all. I really enjoyed it. It was one of those books that I wish I had kind of read either as part of a book club or, with other people or knew of other people reading it at that time. It's speculative fiction set in the future, sci-fi, and it was really interesting. The big takeaway for me was that being a woman still sucked in the future, but gay rights had certainly expanded. So if you can't win them all, it's nice to win a few. The next book I read was Agnes Grey, and again, I was pretty surprised at how much I really, really enjoyed it. I believe Agnes Grey is by Anne Bronte, certainly by one of the Bronte sisters. And it was just really lovely. It was like a governess story. I really enjoyed reading it at night, like at the end of my day. And it was it was just really good. I would highly recommend it. The third book I read was Private Rights by Julia Armfield. And this one was part of my book club, the Mulch Butt Hose. We banded together back in the year of 2020, so that we could, instead of just getting together, my friends and I, to talk about the thing, instead we could talk about something else. So we started a book club like 5 years ago, and this book, Private Rights, was our 100th book that we read together. So very, very proud of us. Really, really love this book club and my friends. We met doing our master's program together at U of T, and in the Faculty of Information, the iSchool, Library Sciences, all of that cool stuff. So this was our 100th book that we got to read together. We all really loved it. And I think both of my friends have read Our Wives Under the Sea. I have not yet read that one. But this was an absolute banger. It's like a King Lear retelling adaptation. It's also set in the not too distant future, and it's all about, the climate crisis and set in London. And this is a story where it's set in the perspective of the three sisters. And the city itself also gets to narrate a little bit periodically. It wasn't kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It would kind of go between the sisters, and then the city would get a short little vignette narration to just add in, the city is this like living organism and is undergoing this huge change, and along with everybody else. It's super creepy and just a really good read. And like I said, our 100th book that we read together. And by the way, that's official book club picks, because sometimes we will either intentionally or unintentionally, two or three of us will read the same book around the same time anyway. So this was our 100th official pick, and I cannot recommend it enough. 5 stars. Next, I read Howard's End by E.M. Forster. I say Forster because there's an R there, but I feel like everyone else says Foster. So I don't know if I am pronouncing it wrong, but Howard's End was another surprise, kind of like Agnes Grey, where both of those two, I would say, have a very political bent to them, but it's not the focus of the book. I really appreciated how class was discussed in both of those books, and um, just getting so involved in the lives and the machinations of these different families was just a really lovely surprise. So I believe I gave that one a 5 star as well. Next, I read Electra by Jennifer Saint. Now, it's no Madeline Miller. What is? But it was a very cool story. I will warn you that the character Electra does not even appear for the first 25% of the book. So it is very much like a multi-generational story, and it is a slower paced novel. That being said, I did still really enjoy it, and I'm really glad that I read it. I had not read Jennifer Saint before, but Madeline Miller can only produce so much. So I really appreciate that she, as in Madeline Miller, has seemingly opened up this world for other authors to come in and write, retellings and reimaginings of the Greek goddesses and deities and nymphs and so on, because they're all very intriguing and fascinating characters unto themselves. And it's nice to have women controlling their narrative. Next, I read A Grandmother Begins the Story. And this was also a multi-generational tale as well. This was Indigenous fiction, and it was just so beautiful to read. And each chapter is quite short. It's like its own vignette or novella in some cases. And it spans the stories of 5 different generations of Cree women. And it also incorporates, kind of like how Private Rights incorporates the narrative of the city. This book incorporates the narrative of the grasslands, the fields, and like the wide open spaces, the ground that supports the bison, who also get a narration in the story. You first meet these characters at sort of a similar time frame of the present, but you meet them and you're kind of like, man, what's going on with this person? Why is this person so either difficult for their family to deal with or unpleasant to kind of follow along? Why is this person abandoning this other person or these pets or whatever? And then as the story intertwines and you start to understand how all of these women are related, you start to go, ooh, that's why they're acting that way, or that's why they're so disenchanted or disillusioned. And like I said, it's really beautifully written, and the chapters are quite short, and it is Canadian. So another great read, 5 stars across the board. The next book I read was the only nonfiction of January, and it's called Monsters, A Fan's Dilemma by Claire Dederer. And it was another banger, 5 stars. And it was basically a reflection, exploration, investigation into both the author's own connection to art by monstrous men and women, but also asking the question, how do we collectively and individually even talk about or interrogate or connect with artwork or music or films or stories that are by, self-proclaimed monsters, people who have admitted to doing very, very wrong deeds and to just being so morally opposed to in their behavior to how we audiences may act or think is appropriate to act. So I wouldn't say that if you're looking for a hard and fast rule on how to handle the artwork of monstrous people, I wouldn't say that you're going to get that answer from this book. But if you love Virginia Woolf, like I do, I think it's important to also understand that she was pretty openly anti Semitic, and that is relevant to understanding her work now, 100 years later. And then, because I cannot go a month without reading either Agatha Christie or P.G. Wodehouse or both, the last book that I read in January was The Moving Finger by Agatha Christie. I reread it, listened to it as an audiobook. It's narrated by Richard E. Grant, so you really can't get much better than that. And like all Miss Marple mysteries, it was a banger. Just a great read. I just started using Storygraph this year, so I'm still getting used to all of the cool features that it has, but I just wanted to highlight some of the stats from my January reading. So my average time to finish a book took me apparently 10 days. I read in total 8 books, and that was 2,504 pages. The biggest slice of the mood pie was reflective, and second biggest was emotional, third biggest was mysterious, fourth biggest was dark, and then informative, hopeful, challenging, and adventurous were all tied for last place. The pacing of the books that I read varied between 25% were slow and 75% were medium. Page numbers varied between 300 to 499, and that was 25% of the books, or less than 300, and that was 75% of the books. And as you know, I only read one nonfiction, so that was 13% of the books that I read. And format-wise, I read all of those as audiobooks. And my average star rating, because I gave most of the books 5 stars and maybe 2 were 4 stars, and then one I think I don't typically re-rate like the rereads when it's Agatha Christie or P.G. Wodehouse. So my average rating was 4.67 out of 5. So that was my January reads. Like I said, if you were here 10 years ago and you would like to know what's happened in my life between then and now, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. It's really nice to be here again, and I hope to see you in the comments, see you in my subscriptions as well, for those of you that make your own videos. Oh, I'll make another video about my February reads, because like I said, it is March now. So I just really couldn't wait until the end of March to make a first quarter video. Maybe I'll still make that anyway, but I just was excited, and the sun's out and the temperature is above 0 degrees, so why not make a video, right? Okay, I hope you are all doing really, really well. I hope you have a great rest of your day or evening, wherever you may be in the world. Sending you lots of love and lots of reading wishes your way. I hope you have lots of time to read. Make time to read. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you read in January. And until next time.